Welcome to the DSPN.
John Walker wins the 1500 metres gold medal at the Olympic Games.
The All Blacks have won by 29 points tonight.
The Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast, people. Martin Devlin, Lachlan Waugh. First All Blacks team of the year announced today by Coach Scott Robertson, 23 names. And there has been some changes. Yes, there's a couple of debutants. You know, this side, it's all there. We're going to be looking intently at it. Nigel Yeldon joining us. Worked with Nigel for a couple of decades. He called the All Blacks for Radio Sport, working now at MediaWorks, as well as that. Greg Martin out of Australia as always. We're going to play a little game of glass half full and work our way through some of the big questions around some of the selections. If you're listening on Rover, or wherever you find your favourite podcast, you get the whole show as one here on the DSPN YouTube channel. We slice it up into smaller chunks for you to consume as you will at your leisure. Murray Mexted will join us tomorrow. So here we go then. You know the 23. We always kick it off the same way every single day. Hit that subscribe button for us. Really helps. One of the big changes is Rieko Ioane moving to the wing. I've got a few thoughts on that to kick the show off.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
So let's talk the 23 name just before lunchtime today. One of the major talking points being at centre, where Rieko Ioane has been dropped from the position in favour of Billy Proctor. Now, I agree 100% with the selectors here. It's something that many of us have been suggesting for a while now, something that simply had to happen. Time to move on from Rieko at centre. Now, this isn't personal. The guy is a top athlete, there's no question. But after watching all of Super Rugby this year, week in, week out, I've come to the same conclusion every time. He's just not the guy for that 13 jersey anymore. He's okay in the role, but okay isn't good enough to be any kind of All Black. And look, I'm not claiming to be some kind of expert analyst here or keyboard coach. I'm just a long-time fan. I've been watching Test Rugby for 50 years, and I've seen some greats wear that jersey. Bruce Robertson, Conrad Smith, Frank Bunce, Joe Stanley, Tana Umanga, you name it. All of them had a feel for the position that Rieko just doesn't. He's had a decent crack, 4 or 5 years at centre, close to 50 tests, but he hasn't developed into a world-class 13. He's got the size, he's got the speed, but not the instincts. And that's my point. The vision isn't there. The guile isn't there. He doesn't see the gaps, doesn't set up his outsides, and too often takes the wrong option. You see it week after week for the Blues. He's predictable. And that's not a word you want next to your name if you're an All Black midfielder. The fact he's also going on sabbatical next year, I think, gives us the perfect chance to try someone new. Give a fresh combo a shot. If it doesn't work out, fine. Knock on Rieko's door again in 2026. But what say it does work? What if we do find the next Tana or Conrad? Because that's who we need. A centre the rest of the world fears. Not just a big body defender, but a genuine game-breaking midfielder. So, Rieko, nothing personal, mate. You've given it your best, but I've moved on. And clearly the selectors have as well.
Devlin.
The All Blacks have been announced as well. You know, here's the team. You can see it on the screen. De Groot, Taylor Newell, Scott Barrett, Holland, Vai, Ardy, Leo Willie, Roygard Beauden, Geordie, Billy Proctor, Sevu, Rieko, Will Jordan, Samasoni, Ollie Norris, Pasilio Tossi, Samapeni, Fina, Duplessis, Karifi, Cortez, Tupaia and Mackenzie. We'll start with some quotes from Scott Robertson from the press conference and then rip into a glass half full.
He's pretty excited, you know, from Zealand to New Zealand. He's come a long way. It's a great story. Pretty single mind from a 14-year-old to make that call to come over and represent another country in a game he loves, and he saw the All Blacks as the ultimate, and there's opportunities down here and under the roof. It's a movie sort of stuff, isn't it? Yeah, we're looking at options to the ability for guys to play in two positions. He's got the skill set. He's quick enough, as he keeps telling us, and he can play on the edge well. So it just complements us. You know, Test footy's a big man's game, and you know, can he start there, finish there? And this week he's starting. Yeah, Rieko's competent in either position. He can start or finish in either, and then you know, there's his opportunity to get on the wing and do some finishing for us. It's exciting. He was keen. He was up for it, and whatever's best for the team. Probably his performances in his whole season, really, especially in the last few weeks. He came on the end of the tour with us, which is really important for him to understand how the week works, and he started straight in. Yeah, a little bit of balance of the both. Like you said, what complements us, you know, where we sit in the game, the potential outcomes of ability to people make impacts. to come on, speed it up, as I've mentioned about being able to play fast and the skill set to do it. It's a good balanced pitch.
All right, Lachlan.
Glass half full.
I'm going to give you some scenarios, some situations, some players, some perspective here, and you can tell me exactly whether your glass half full, glass half empty when this guy yells. Yes! We move on to the next one. Quite a few changes then. Overall, do you like the team glass half full, glass half empty?
I like it. I guess so. I mean, I don't really know if I dislike an All Black team, to be fair.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The thing that screams to me straight away is that it is a rotated side, and if you want to be very, very negative about the All Blacks in this series, I don't think the coaches are really taking it too seriously.
He did say, Scott Robertson, that he's going to give everyone a go, right? So he's true to his word.
Point being that this is certainly not a team that would take on the Springboks or France, if France were full strength, or Ireland, or even England, I don't think.
Glass half full, glass half empty.
Well, glass half full, because it's an All Blacks team.
Yes! First five, Beauden gets the nod over McKenzie.
Yes, glass half full. I think Beauden was better than Damien McKenzie during Super Rugby. Damien McKenzie had some good performances, but I thought Beauden was far more consistent. And he didn't play as much because he had, I think, a couple of injuries. Had that hand. I think he was sick at one point as well. No, Beauden Barrett is in better form.
Yes! Rieko Ioane out of the centres. Glass half full, glass half empty. I did start the show by saying this, and no disrespect to the guy, but I just don't think he has the rugby smarts to play that position.
We've banged this drum. Well, you've banged this drum a lot. I'm happy to see him on the wing because it is his better position.
Yeah, happy then with the back three. Sevu, Rieko, Will Jordan. Glass half full.
Yes. I don't think Amoni Narawa is deep enough into the selection frame to earn a spot. I personally would love him to be starting on the right wing. I've always really liked Amoni Narawa. I don't think Caleb Clark has been in good enough form to earn a selection in the first test of the year. And Sevu Reece has been superb this year. I think Rieko Ioane, I'd like to see him back on the wing. But no, Will Jordan at fullback as well.
Glass half full, glass half empty. The debutants, you've got Holland coming into the second row, and you've got Leo Willie at number 8.
Well, Luke Jacobson's got concussion. Dalton Pavaliti's injury cover, so again, like Narawa, I don't know how much in the selection frame he really is. Obviously, Ethan Blackett is not in the squad, so that really only leaves a couple of options. I think where they wanted to play Artie is what determines it. I think if they were happy to play Artie at number 8, then I think Duplessis probably would have started. But I really think the coaches want to see him at 7.
Yeah, well, he's played so well.
That's the position he's played. It's the position he's played this year. It's his natural position. Murray Mixted will say that there's not a huge difference between 7 and 8. But still, 7's the one. It's the number that's been on his back more often than not this year, and where he's played really well. So I think that comes into it, and it's not to discredit Christian Leo Willie, but he's in there because I think of where they want to play.
Glass half full, glass half empty. Tupu Vai at 6. Now Max is also on the podcast today. He's going to be talking about this, and he's been calling for this. He has. You got to give him his dues all year, has he not?
Yeah. He has, to Max's credit. At the same time, Tupu Vai has played blindside before, so it's not a totally unknown selection.
But he plays bloody well as lock last year for us.
Yeah, he's a tricky one. There's only really one lock who has consistently held down, I think, the role of lock, who has been a bit shorter than most, and that was Brad Thorne for the All Blacks, at least off the top of my head. But it's common in rugby, a lot more common than I think people realise, for a lock to actually play blindside and vice versa because of their size and their ability to make an impact. And again, Tupu Vai has played blindside before for the All Blacks. Has he played well at that position for the All Blacks? It's up for debate, but seeing him there, it's good.
Yes! Let's look at their bench. Samapeni off the bench, Duplessis off the bench as the 2 loose forwards. They're going to get game time, these guys, guaranteed. So I can actually see that loose forward. I can see Vai moving in with Holland. I reckon Holland will get about 55 minutes, something like that. And then I can see Artie going to 8, Leo Willie coming off, Samapeni at 6, and I think Duplessis.
Yeah, it probably depends on who's playing better out of the 2 locks, because if Holland's having an absolute blinder and say Scott Barrett hypothetically is not.
You're not going to take the captain off, mate.
Well, it's not a series that the All Black coaches are clearly taking that seriously. Again, if it was, then they'd be naming, I think, a much more experienced 23, and they haven't. So if they're not taking it as seriously, I would not be shocked at all if Scott Barrett gets maybe 55 to 60 minutes. When you think about the work that he's put in at Super Rugby as well, played right through to the final, has a lot more rugby under his belt in recent weeks than, say, a Fabian Holland, who probably needs to prove himself a bit more than Scott Barrett. Not saying that he's no good, but this is his debut. Yeah. So I would imagine that Holland, if he's playing really well, would get a longer shift shift than Scott Barrett. So that would then see Vai move to the locks, and then that would probably see Simon Penny come on, and Duplessis will absolutely come on. I mean, in rugby, you empty your bench. It's not like football where you get a limited number. You empty your bench in rugby.
Glass half full, glass half empty on the front row. Here's us two talking about the front row. What do we know about the front row?
Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me. De Groot.
Couple of gym sessions recently, thank you. Today was league
Newell
day.
playing 80 minutes in Super Rugby says everything, doesn't it? And so I would say that if Tamaiti Williams was fit and wasn't getting operated on, he would actually have started this game. But De Groot,
but he would have been in there instead of De Groot.
Yeah, De Groot, Taylor, Newell. I like where our front row is at the moment. I think we've got big strength in all of those positions.
We've got options who are tall and large. Tamaiti is very tall. Pasilio Tossi's pretty tall. And Ethan De Groot's certainly not short. He's not short and stubby like Newell. No offence to Fletcher Newell, of course. We love Fletcher Newell. So there's a nice actually balance in terms of the size and the height there. No, I think our front row stocks are pretty good at the moment. Much better than they were, say, 5-6 years ago, where we went to Tokyo and we took ball playing props.
We
went to Japan. It wasn't just Tokyo we were in, it was Japan as a country.
God, I'll never forget. That haunts me, that quote, to this day.
Yeah. And the non-selection of Owen Franks.
Owen Franks. Why didn't we take it? Ever
made by an All
And
Black
what did
coach.
England do? They just scrummed us and set-pieced us, didn't they?
Well, I think even if we had the 2015 team, I don't think we would have beaten England on that day.
Glass half full, glass half empty. I say congratulations. And one of the most pleasing things about this team is seeing the name Tupaia back in the 23. Isn't this great? I mean, this guy, when you have such a wretched run of injuries, and then he came back and was starting to play really well in Super Rugby, and you're thinking, just stay fit, because you got to remember, when he got that injury, he was our second 5'8", wasn't he? Or at centre.
He was emerging. Certainly was emerging
he was
as a contender.
I think he
debuted that year for the All Blacks.
And then who was the Aussie guy that?
Darcy Swain.
Yeah, that's right. You sod. Yeah,
who,
I'm so pleased to see your name back in Quintu Park.
Yeah, he's been playing well for a couple of years. I think he was named in one of the squads last year as well. It feels like this is a chance for him. Now, he's not starting, obviously, and we do have some options at 12. One of them is not involved in the 23, and Timothy Tavatavanawai, who I think everyone wants to see feature at some point. So we actually we don't have a solid player locked in at 12, but we have a lot of really good options for 12, and he's one of them. But it's great to see him in the mix.
Yeah, I think Beauden Barrett is the 12. I've got to say that. Glass half full, glass half empty on the French opposition. Justin Marshall earlier in the week saying that it's rubbish that they've said. I don't actually think they're going to be that bad, because I think what's going to happen is I think the All Blacks are going to be rusty, as we're always rusty in these June tests, aren't we? Even though the players have been playing Super Rugby, we're going to be rusty. And if you remember against England last year, we weren't thoroughly convincing in either of those first two tests.
No, we never are. Off the top of my head.
Why not though?
I don't know. Ask the coaches, ask the players. They'll know better.
They've been playing solid.
But a lot of them have been playing against it. They're not playing together. They're playing against each other.
These guys will know each other.
Yeah, really. Well, there's a lot of newbies in the squad. This is a very rotated 23, 15, with 8 guys on the bench who are, some fresh faces. I think the fact that every single June/July Test series that the All Blacks have played for, at least ever since I've been watching them play, which is obviously not as long as you, they have never looked perfect. The only time that they ever looked great was in 2007 when they absolutely smacked up France in 2 games that didn't matter because we ended up losing to them in the quarterfinals later that year. Mm-hmm. And the other one was the 2005 Lions series.
Didn't we beat them by 50 points that year in 2007?
We put 60 on them in one test. I remember that. But I remember in 2008, for example, we played Ireland and England. We didn't look great. We never looked great. Even in the 2017 Lions series, this big deal, big tour here in New Zealand.
Well, glass half full, glass half empty. I'm on France.
Well, okay, it's here. We got sidetracked. I blame you. You're the host. I don't care because we knew this. I think late last year, when it was more or less revealed that they were going to be bringing it back. Yeah. I don't care. It's something for World Rugby to sort out. What I want to see, and that's why I'm not the biggest fan of seeing so many, not changes, but selections that aren't, I think, our best options in those positions. Nothing against those players, of course. I'd want us to absolutely destroy them so that World Rugby sit there and go, oh, geez, these are meant to be 2 of our 3 or 4 best teams in the world, and one of them is absolutely smacking the other one up. Maybe we need to step in and tell French rugby how to run their comps a bit better.
Let's do that. That'll work, won't it? That's worked for the last 50, 100 years.
It obviously won't because the Six Nations run World Rugby, but... So, I'm sick of really talking about it and getting annoyed or upset about it. So the only way to sort of make it look the mockery that it is if the All Blacks turn up and absolutely kill them, which they're probably not going to do because, again, this isn't the best 23 they could have named, I don't think.
Leave us a comment. That's what we want. Hit subscribe on the DSPN YouTube channel. Let us know what you think of this first All Black 23 name for 2025.
This is the DSPN.